The following production is brought to you by the Talkin' Buds Leaf Show.
Here we go. Talkin' Buds Leaf Show, episode 245. I mean, no shortage of things to talk about as per usual. 2 games since our last episode. A victory over the LA Kings, a loss to the New York Rangers. We got the power play. We got Craig Berube. We've got line combinations. Where do you want to start? Like, in your opinion, what is the most pressing issue at this moment in time? Even though I know how you're going to... I'm kind of setting you up for a question that I already know the answer to, but I'm going to do it anyway. In your opinion, what is the most pressing issue with the Toronto Maple Leafs as of October 20th, 2024?
Well, I was going to maybe swerve and be like, do you want to go positive or negative first? But I guess we'll start.
No. You know what? No. Let's go positive first. Good catch. Let's do that. Let's go positive first.
All right. My biggest positive, there's a lot of positives, to be honest with you. I think there's a lot. We'll get into the negatives later, but there are a lot of early signs here that I like what I'm seeing. Number one is starting on time. How many fucking times have we come on here and talk about this team not starting on time? And I think every single game they've come out ready to play. They've got on the forecheck early. They've been moving their feet. They're not brutal. I think their first period effort as soon as puck drops, that is so far been a really encouraging sign for this hockey team, because it's been a problem for years now. And I think watching them come out and just immediately dump the puck in and doing that famous north-south style of hockey has been a huge positive.
No D-to-D passes, no curling back, that's the type of thing that's going to get you an earful on the bench if you start doing that kind of, unless you're Mitch Marner, which we'll talk about later. I gotta tell you, if we're talking positives, we haven't had an episode since, like, our last episode was on Tuesday before the LA Kings game. I had a euphoric experience during that game, watching Craig Berube call a timeout and read these guys the riot act for going to sleep to start the third period. I had a similar euphoric experience with the videos that were posted of him at practice, stopping practice multiple times, do it again, Herb Brooks style. Love it. Absolutely love it. It's just like, when I see this stuff, you made a great point where you're like, I feel like, especially with the practice video, you're like, I feel like that's what a lot of coaches around the league are doing. But we see it here because we didn't see it for like 6 years. And we're just like, oh, look at how serious our head coach is taking this.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like, how many great coaches around the NHL are reaming their players on the bench when they start to see things they don't like, or running serious practices, running hard practices. Like, you saw it even with Paul Maurice in the Amazon thing. Like, do you remember when the Panthers were on the edge of not making the playoffs in Toronto, and he absolutely gave it to them, and then they went on a run and almost won the Stanley Cup, and then won the Stanley Cup the next year. And it's just funny how things here have been such a country club.
Yes.
That watching a coach just do his job is just like such an amazing thing that we see. And we're like, oh my God, look how serious he's being. Look how hard he's being on the guys, the attention to detail. And it's like, well, yeah, that's what a coach is supposed to do.
And there are people who don't like the old school because they look at like extreme examples. Like Babcock was an extreme example. Even though he does crack me up from time to time. Tortorella is an extreme example. To me, it's like, you look at like Kyle Dubas and Sheldon Keefe ushered in this sort of, it was not a very, I guess, for lack of a better term, strict environment. And you just look at the way, doing the gritty in the middle of practice. Is Matthew Tkachuk doing the gritty in the middle of practice? No. Is there music being played at a Florida Panthers practice? No, because they're a serious operation that shows up every day with the mindset of winning a Stanley Cup. And I think when you see Berube doing these things, that's what he's trying to institute to these guys. Like, and we're kind of getting a chuckle out of it because it was so light ahead of before him. But that's really all it comes down to. Are you a serious operation with aspirations of winning a championship, or are you just out there to have some fun? Because you're all high-paid professional athletes. You don't need to be having music blaring at practice, and you don't need to be doing the gritty. By the way, just as an aside, everyone's like, man, everyone's so much vitriol towards Mitch Marner, so much vitriol towards Mitch Marner. It's like, yeah, because Mitch Marner sort of personifies that era, right? Like doing the gritty at practice, that's that era personified. And I think that's why he gets targeted as much as he does from pissed off fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's kind of a joke if you look back on it. And I don't want to disrespect Sheldon because I don't think Sheldon's an awful coach, but it's just the way the culture was set from the top down. It was just a little too loosey-goosey. And I'm not particularly a guy who just like loves the old school way, because I've been coached by people before who are old school, and being super strict and it gets old and it wears down, but I don't think it is old school. It's like, this is a serious job and we're going to take this seriously. We're going to stop playing music at practices because that's stupid. Yes. You need to communicate in practice. You need to skate hard. Like the old line, how you practice is how you play. Like that's simple. That's not old school. That's just a simple. Imagine going to your job every day, the average person listening to this podcast in your office just blaring music. Like that never fucking happens.
No.
And it's just, I don't think Craig Berube's like, I guess he's like old school in the sense where he's just kind of like a stoic figure and he's intimidating, and I don't think he takes any shit. But I don't think he's really practicing anything that's like super old school. I think he's just coming in here and just fixing all these little mistakes that they were making that maybe we're attributing to some of the bad habits that were going on the past couple seasons.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So I had a euphoric experience. So I'm putting that in my positive category 100%. And I agree with you. Just the overall play is like they lose 4-1 to the Rangers on Saturday night, but they played well in that game. Like,
yeah,
like there's some things we're going to
played well in every game. They have.
There hasn't been.
Come out, they forechecked.
They've had stretches like when Berube reading them out against the Kings, but overall, like, you cannot complain with how this team has performed.
No,
holistically to start the season.
I'll give you another positive. The defense is way better. Like, it's just Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Chris Tanev replacing TJ Brody and Mark Giordano. Like, it's not even close. Like, and it's hilarious to me, the people who were just shitting all over the Oliver Ekman-Larsson signing in the summer. It's like, this guy is literally their number one defenseman right now. He was playing on the third pair. And how many times you turn on 590, turn on 1050? This is a third pair guy who got sheltered minutes and in Florida. And it's like, well, he's come here and he's their number one guy.
Pretty damn good.
He's getting the most ice time. He's replaced Riley on the first power play. He's physical. He's moving the puck. And then it kind of scared me to see Tanev go off, but he came back.
Yes. And everybody's heart sank when Chris Tanev went off the ice.
And you have to give Tree Living credit that he said he was going to upgrade the defense. And granted, he didn't go out and magically make a Victor Hedman appear, but he did what he could. And I think it's significantly improved. I think it's making everybody look better in their lineup. I think Jake McCabe looks better. I think Morgan Riley really hasn't found his game yet, but I think in the long run it'll make him better. And it's taking some pressure off that third pair as well. I think the defense has clearly gotten better. They said they wanted to make it better, and it's gotten better.
Bigger, too.
Yeah, bigger. Better.
Yes.
Better at moving the puck. Better at playing hard in their own end. Better at blocking shots. Like, you name it. They've gotten better.
Yeah, 100%. What do you, before we get into the bulk of this conversation on this podcast today is going to be about the struggling power play. So I'm kind of saving that. I saw some people criticizing Berube last night for when he was using the fourth line, putting the fourth line out when you're down a goal, trying to get a goal. And I don't necessarily agree with that, because I think, and for me, it's all about Steven Lorentz. if you haven't figured it out in the last 3 weeks, I am the biggest Steven Lorentz fan in the city of Toronto right now. That line just brings an energy that he clearly likes. Like, if they weren't effective, I don't think he'd put them out there. But they had some good shifts. They're cycling it in the offensive zone. Are they going to score a goal? Probably not, but they just giving everyone a breather and getting out there and getting a good cycle going and being physical. Like, those two guys on the wing, that's a punishing duo to be out there on the ice against.
Yeah, I thought it's just, I don't know, like throwing them out in a situation they're going to score. It's like, well, he's just decided he's going to run 4 lines, and that's what he's going to do. Maybe an analytic guy can come in here and drop an elbow on me off the top turnbuckle, but I thought they completely outplayed the other 4th line last night. I thought they skated hard. I thought they forechecked well. I thought they cycled the puck. Yeah, sometimes they're going to look a little like they got hands of stone in front of the net, but I thought they generated some chances. It's just like if Craig Berube is going to stick with a mantra of like, I'm going to roll 4 lines, then fuck, he's going to roll 4 lines, and I'm just going to let him do that. Let him coach the way he wants to coach, because so far they've looked pretty well.
Exactly. 100%. All right, we've put it off long enough. Let's talk about the A-Link power play. It was without question the dark spot of the loss on Saturday night to New York Rangers. It's the only thing you came away from that game being like, oof, that's not good. I mean, at this point, I think you have to look at making some personnel changes on there. Like, I just don't see how you keep running the same group out there hoping for it to be different. I think at a certain point, a leopard doesn't change its spots. You've tried Ekman Larson out there. I think he's helped, but it's still the same. It's the big boys that are out there that are not getting it done. And so at a certain point, like, we need to start splitting up these units.
Yeah, I mean, we've dissected like what we think they should do, how they should distribute the puck, they should skate, they should kind of have a little bit more urgency, and we could talk about that till we're blue in the face. But yeah, I think at this point you got to be looking at any change you can make. The biggest problem with their power play is last night they're down 2-1. The Rangers take a penalty late in the third, and when you're an elite team in this league, if your opposition is giving up a late power play, they should be shitting their pants, being like, we just gave them an opportunity to score, and this power play is so good that this game is basically tied now because we gave up this power play. And it's just not like that. It's almost just like a free 2 minutes of this team isn't scoring against us. That's the biggest problem. It's like, imagine the Leafs were playing, like they're playing Tampa on Monday. If they give up a late power play to Tampa in that game, you know what's going to happen? Nikita Kucherov's going to wire the puck 500 times and have the most dangerous scoring opportunities and setting up guys and distributing the puck, and it's going to be a nightmare. And that's, if they're going to be a team that's a Stanley Cup contender or a team that can go deep in the playoffs, that has to be more of a threat. Like, if the other team should be terrified to take a late penalty because you can make them pay, and it's just not like that at all.
What is it about it that you find most frustrating to watch? To me, it's the speed or lack thereof. Like,
chances.
But they don't move. Like, you watched, like, the Oilers and the Stars were on before the Leafs started on Saturday, and granted, yes, the Oilers are struggling to start the season, but you watch them on their power play, man, they are whipping that thing around. It is they play with pace. They're always trying to get the puck to their scorers. They play with purpose. Yeah. This power play doesn't play with purpose. And this is now the third set of coaches, because you had 2 years ago, it had its struggles. Last year with Guy Boucher, it had its struggles. And now you've brought in Marc Savard, who's known around the league for like putting together a pretty good power play. Yeah. And it's back to struggling again. So at a certain point, it's like, it's not coaching. It's just the mentality in the group and all these guys. I'm beating around the bush here because I just think the pile-on has gotten out of control. Mitch fucking Marner, like, my God, like, just circling back and behind the back and slow over the zone and like just stop it. Like, just stop it. And it's becoming abundantly clear. Like, so Saturday night, I'm in a room with a bunch of people. Ryan, I set out to not take the conversation down this road, and inevitably this is where we head every single time.
Yeah.
I'm in the room with a bunch of people, and of course we're all talking about Mitch Marner because we're watching him dipsy doodle, swirly twirly, as I like to call it, around on the power play. And you've got the people in the room who are like, enough's enough. I don't care. I don't even care if we trade him. I don't care if he walks. I don't want to watch him anymore. He doesn't have it. He's this. And then you've got other people in the room who are like, right, but you can't just let a 100-point player walk. And this is where the conversation continues to come back to with him. Is it's like, yes, he's a very talented player and he has a ton of upside. I said last week, he makes a lot of great plays defensively. I think he's really good on the PK. But you watch him on the power play, and it's just, you're trying to play a fast-paced, up-tempo, no bullshit sort of style. Mitch Marner does not know how to play no bullshit hockey. Like you said it yourself, he needs to cut the shit. Like, he doesn't know how to do that. He doesn't know how to take the puck to the net, like drive the net. He doesn't know how to move it with authority. He doesn't know how to... like eye on the prize, get the puck to Matthews, get the puck to Willie, move it quickly. You don't need to do a spinorama. You don't need to do a pretty back pass. Like, stop doing that shit. And it's only a matter of time. I'm not saying the entire power play is Mitch Marner's fault. It's not. But the mentality that he takes when he's out there is a huge reason why this power play looks the way it does.
Yeah, I don't think taking him off is the answer because you know how good he is at distributing the puck. It's just like he needs to cut the shit a little bit and he needs to simplify his game. Stop being. We've said stop being so cute 100 times, but I watch him and it's like, dude, you're so talented, and I don't think you should take him off that power play because I think when he's on his game, he's one of the best distributors of the puck in the league. It's just like you need to simplify your game a little bit, man. You just need to dumb it down. Not
to cut you off, but I think you should take him off until he cuts the shit. I think you say to him, if you're going to go out there and you're going to continue to do this, you're not going to be on power play 1 because we need you out there. So to your point, we need you out there. You're so talented, but if you stop being a goof.
You know what pisses me off about Mitch Marner? It's like we're going into a season where he's going to offer 12 million plus a year. Okay. Imagine how much more he could demand if he actually shot the puck. Like, that's what kills me about this guy. It's like, how many goals would Mitch Marner score in the NHL if he actually just shot the puck? How many times have you seen him go in where he actually has to shoot and just rip it by a guy because he has a great shot and he's a super talented player? I just don't understand. And this is going to lead me kind of to my next negative point. I just don't understand. There's 2 guys on this team who are just willing to give up golden opportunities to rip one home because they just feel they need to distribute the puck. How much more money would Max Domi make in the NHL if he actually decided to shoot the puck? And Mitch Marner, it's like you curl around, you come in, and you're looking for a pass. It's like, dude, shoot the puck, man. And just cut the shit on the back passes. Like last night, he did a little spinorama right to a Ranger stick, and it's out of the zone. It's like, dude, you're such a good player. Just dumb it down a little bit, dude. We get it. We've seen you make amazing behind the back passes, but sometimes that's just not the answer. You can be demanding $13 million if you just ripped home another 10 a year because you can totally do that. Stop like that. Like last night, Max Domi on a 2-on-1 has a wide open net and he fucking passes the puck. And it's a broken play, and the Rangers go down and score a goal. It's like, dude, shoot the puck, man.
Dude, I told you, I was in a room with a bunch of people. And everyone was like, what are you doing? Like, everyone.
Like, he had an open, like, maybe Shesterkin is good enough to get over and make that save, but they replayed it on the broadcast, and he had a large portion of the net that he could have shot the puck into. And he's such a skilled, so-called kind of skillish player. Buddy, come on, shoot that puck, man. It's ridiculous. Those 2 guys need to stop passing up so many scoring opportunities. I know Marner plays with Matthews, and Matthews gets all the goals, but I think Mitch Marner could score 40 goals in the NHL easily if he just kind of just took the opportunities he had to shoot the puck. I think he's that good. I think he's so underrated at scoring goals. Like, Max Domi, I get you have Nylander on your line and McMahon and the 2 guys who can rip it home. But dude, when you are on a 2-on-1 and you get that pass across the ice and you got a half open net, shoot the fucking puck.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Today's episode of the Talking Buds Leaf Show is brought to you by Game Time.
Rob, the girlfriend and I just got a place right downtown. And since we've been down here, you know I've been to a couple Jays games. You know I've been to some concerts. And you know for a fact I'll be in the building for a couple Leaf games this season. And anytime I need to grab tickets to an event, I use Game Time.
I recently used Game Time to grab some tickets for you and me to go see Creed at Scotiabank Arena in November. I'm getting warmed up. I'm getting excited. Home now.
All right. If you keep going, they won't want to do business with us anymore.
All right. I digress. I'll save my Scott Stapp impression for another time.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier.
Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets.
Game Time Picks curates and makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, and theater.
They've got my favorite feature, which is called Seat Views, where you can get a panoramic view of your seat in the app before you buy.
Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code THPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game Time.
I'd like to see. I don't think Johnny catches a bunch of shit, and that's a whole other conversation. And you and I love the whole still elite down low joke. So I don't want to look at this and go, Johnny's not pulling his weight. He's in his spot. He's doing what he should be doing. But I just think let's give Matthew Knies a look in that role. Like, Matthew Knies has been excellent to start the season. His confidence is growing by the game.
Yeah,
he's an absolute horse. Just put him in front of the net and let him just give it a look. And it's nothing more than just the natural progression. You know, Johnny's on the back nine of his career. Johnny's only got a few years left. This is a young kid just starting his career whose confidence is going through the roof. He looks fantastic. Like, get him out there. He's a big body. He's a lot harder to move in front of the net than John Tavares is. Like, just give it a look.
Yeah. If you look on 5-on-5 and on the power play, he's kind of the odd man out like everywhere in the lineup right now. Because if you look at that power play, if you're going to move anybody off it, it's going to be him.
Yeah.
Even though really, if you have a guy who's just a net front presence, like just leave him in front of the net. Like I know sometimes he comes out to the low slot there and gets a quick little pass from Marner, but I mean, yeah, if you're going to move anybody off that power play, it's probably going to be him. And you're seeing it 5-on-5 too. It's like that line he has is like Max Domi's playing with Nylander. And it's just, you look at that third line 5-on-5 and they're not generating much.
Well, and it's very clear. I saw the guys on Leaf Talk talking about this after the game last night. Max Domi is this team's second line center, and that's how they see it. They just don't think John can do it anymore. And he can't. He just doesn't have the foot speed. Like, he just doesn't have the foot speed.
And another thing too that contributes to that is him and Nylander have played together a lot, and they just don't click at all. And if you compare the two guys, when Willie could drive a line on his own, he really can. So you would rather be Willie taking that ice time because he just creates way more 5-on-5 than Tavares. So it's like if they don't work together, they can't be on the same line. And Willie's got to play with somebody and get more minutes that can generate offense. So that leaves Tavares down on the third line, and you're just got $11 million on your third line center position. And he's playing with two wingers who, like, I don't know the right formula for him 5-on-5 to generate more offense right now.
Well, and I think to your point about his line, like if you're gonna cast him in that third line center role, you've got to find better line mates for him than Pontus Holmberg and Nick Robertson.
Yeah. You think, like, you look at a guy like Willie kind of matches the description of like a guy who could like work with him, a guy who can move the puck and get the puck in the zone. All you have to do is kind of go to the net and use your elite hands down low, but it just doesn't work. And you're watching it. It's Nick Robertson's he just hasn't figured it out so far. He's just kind of been there, and Pontus Holmberg is awful.
Which is pretty wild because Pontus Holmberg seemed like the golden boy, Berube's golden boy in training camp, and he struggled to start the season. Then Berube, after the game on Saturday, said as much. He was like, he looks like he's a step behind everybody right now.
Yeah, he's taking
but
penalties.
It's just like the Pontus Holmberg. John Tavares is going to create offense. They're kind of in a weird spot where Pacioretty seems like the best option to put with Tavares, but it doesn't seem like they want to play Pacioretty every single night. But he and also like those two guys together, foot speed wise, is not great. But at this point in time, if you look around, Pacioretty's a much better option on Tavares' wing than Pontus Holmberg is. Like I don't look at Pontus Holmberg as a guy who's going to score you a goal. Like he's a guy that should be. He and David Camp should be alternating that fourth line center role. Like that's where I see Pontus Holmberg having the most success. Yeah. But it's like, yeah, they're in this kind of weird spot. And then you got Kelly Yarncroke coming back eventually. It's like, where's he going to slot in? Like, is he taking Bobby McMahon's spot? Or are they putting him on the third line? No. Okay. So are they putting him on the third line with Tavares, which maybe then I think when Kelly Yarncroke comes back, I think Nick Robertson should be very worried about that. Because I think you slot Yarncroke in and he provides the sort of defensive aspect of the line with Tavares and Pacioretty. And I think
and you can kind of mold that line to be, because I don't necessarily think your third line has to like produce so much offense. Like if you have a third line that is just a shut down line and you can rely on to like shut down another team's top line, then I'm with that. So if you kind of can create a veteran third line of Pacioretty, Tavares, and Yarncroke, who knows how that look, but maybe you can kind of like start molding that line to be like, hey, you guys are the veteran line, guys who've been playing in this league for a long time, who know the details of the game. Hopefully you can provide some offense because you're all skilled players. You can all shoot the puck. You can all create plays offensively, but maybe you can kind of create that third veteran line with those two guys, because I think they're giving Nick Robertson like every chance to succeed that they can give him, but it's just, 5 games in, he really hasn't done anything.
Do you think if you gave, because like the people who are like pro Nick Robertson would say, well, if he had a look with any of the guys on the top two lines, it would be different. Do you buy into that? The
top two lines look too good right now. Yeah. That second line is really good. Like they are playing really well. They are generating basically a scoring chance every time they're on the ice. I'm not deep into the analytics, but from the eye test, every time they're on the ice, they're creating, and they look really good.
Do you buy into that theory though, that if he was playing with other people, he would look different?
Maybe, yeah, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I think that first line, there's just no way you're getting on that first line. There's absolutely no way. I think that line's kind of like set in stone, and I don't know. Like Bobby McMahon is just a more effective hockey player than he is, and
yes,
Domi, even though I don't think he's a center in the long run, and I think you're going to run into trouble with that later. He can't, like, who's going to play center on that line? So Domi has to play center on that line, and Domi looks really good with those two guys.
Yeah,
I just think Nick Robertson is just on a team that is just, he cannot break through. He just cannot. And if he was really that good, like maybe he'd be creating more on the third line. I don't know.
Bobby McMahon broke through, Ryan. Bobby McMahon broke through.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
like Bobby McMahon broke through. Like
I do think Nick Robertson has a lot of talent and can shoot the puck and he can move his feet, but it's just
too small.
There's just too something missing. Yeah,
he's too small. He's too small. Like you look at him out there and he's too small. Like he's not going to survive. Like leading into let's just say the Leafs play the Bruins again in the first round. Leading into the season, Spit and Chicklets did an episode where they had this really great segment where they posted, go on their social media, you'll see it, where they run through the average size of every guy the Bruins have on their blue line. How the hell is Nick Robertson going to fare against that?
Yeah.
Not good.
No. And if you look at it, yeah, you're right. He is competing with McMahon. Like that's the only spot he can take. And honestly, if those two played a full 82 in the same role, I think Bobby McMahon has the opportunity to score more goals. I think Bobby McMahon's just as talented as a goal scorer as Nick Robertson is.
Yes.
He can shoot the puck, and he's just as fast, and he's bigger. So it's just Nick Robertson, his best case scenario is just finding himself a home on the Anaheim Ducks or the San Jose Sharks or the Columbus Blue Jackets, or like, that's just, I ultimately think that's where this is going. Maybe he can break out, and I kind of hope he does, because I am kind of rooting for the kid, but I just don't think he fits in this lineup. I really don't. And I do think they're going to give him a chance to, but I don't think it's going to work out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, time will tell on that one, but I agree. And I think as once Calle Yarncroc comes back, you kind of have that spot in the lineup circled as where he's going to slot in 100%. All right, buddy. I'm looking around.
Like, give me quick opinions on like, how do you think the lines are going so far? Like, how do you think the first line's been doing on 5-on-5? Like, where are you at with them?
I find Mitch Marner frustrating to no end in the offensive zone. I think that there is a day of reckoning coming with Craig Berube and Mitch Marner. I think Craig Berube is very aware of how hot the temperature is towards Mitch Marner in this market. So he's trying to be very patient with him and is going to try and work with him. But I think if we get down the stretch here, and as you said, he doesn't cut the shit, there's a day of reckoning coming with Mitch Marner, because everyone else has cut the shit offensively except him. So other than that, I think the first line's fine. Matthew Knies is my favorite hockey player on the fucking planet. I love the guy. He is. Yeah. He's a Clydesdale.
Yeah.
That's what he is. Second line, I agree with you. I think the only thing about the second line is Max Domi is so into his shtick of being a puck distributor, so putting him with Willie doesn't really help that. But at the end of the day, whatever, it's working, it looks good. We just talked about the third line and what the issues are there. And then the fourth line, it's like, I think it's fine. I really love Steven Lorentz. Like, it was reported this week that they're already working on an extension with him. It's like, yes, do it. Sign the guy. The guy's, I love the guy. He's going to be your guy when you get into the playoffs and Ryan Reeves can't play anymore. He's going to be your banging guy on the fourth line. He's going to play a vital role for you come playoff time. So I have no issues with the way the lineup is being distributed. That third defense pair is still a bit sus for me, but I don't know what you do. Like,
it's a third
Timmins or Liljegren. It's like, Timmins or Liljegren. I don't know. Like, it's kind of like, I don't. It's kind of pick your poison on that one. It's abundantly clear Tim Liljegren is not a Craig Berube hockey player. Like, Craig Berube has not a ton of time for Tim Liljegren. That is jumping off the screen at me. But it kind of is what it is. And then again, Anthony Stolarz, I thought he was great on Saturday night. It's just listen, man, the guy at the other end of the rink is the best in the world right now. And he's taken his team. He's letting his team know that he is the best in the world right now, and he wants to be compensated appropriately. I kept thinking about that.
He's an animal, man.
Oh, I kept thinking about that. I'm like, this guy, because everyone's like, Shesterkin, he's not budging, and they're offering him all this money, and he's not taking it. It's like, have you seen this guy? This guy, he made 5 to 6 10 bellers. Like, Igor Shesterkin is the best in the world right now, in my opinion. As far as I'm concerned.
He is. He's it's kind of funny watching him shove it up there. You know what? Like, it's great. Like, you're not going to pay me. Well, I'm going to go out on Saturday night in the biggest market in the league and put on an absolute clinic.
And guess what? If you're not going to pay me, someone else will at the end of the season, because I'm that good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 100%.
He's an animal, man. The Rangers are a good team, man. They're. And there's a lot of comparison with them and the Leafs, that I can see it, because if you give them an opportunity to score, they cash, and their defense is pretty good, man.
The thing about the Rangers that also makes them kind of similar to the Leafs is I don't know if I love them in a matchup against a Florida.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know,
very similar.
Yeah, like, I don't know if against a team that plays with the intensity and the physicality and just the meanness that Florida does, I don't know if I like the Rangers in that matchup. But they're great. They're a well-coached hockey team. Like, they're one of the best teams in the league. No arguments here. 100%. Well, and there's also talk that as of Tuesday in Columbus, Joe Woll could be getting the start in that game, which will be super interesting to see like how he looks. Like if he goes out there and plays really well, then I think you're in a tandem situation, which is ultimately where you want to be. Like I don't think in today's league, you don't want to, there's no goalie controversy. Like it's like you want both guys playing well that are splitting starts to keep them healthy. That's what you want.
Yeah, it's very true. That's exactly what they want to do. And I think another guy, Anthony Stolarz, it's like, what more can you ask for from this guy?
No, he's been great.
He's been amazing. He hasn't given up more than 2 goals all season. Like he's so solid in there. Like, is he Igor Shesterkin? No, but I think he's a calming presence back there. And I think the comparison you made with Samsonov the last time we were on here about the fact that you're not wincing every time the puck goes on net. I think he's been as good as he could be so far this season.
Yeah, without question. Without question. All right, buddy, you look ahead. Pretty like they're like they had a kind of a light schedule. They had a couple days off this week. That's changing coming up. They got the Lightning on Monday. They got the Blue Jackets on Tuesday. They got the St. Louis Blues, Berube's old team, on Thursday, and then next Saturday in TD Garden. Yeah. Make sure you're in front of the TV for that one. We will be back on Wednesday after the Blue Jackets game. That'll be our timing of our next episode. So if you don't want to miss that, we're doing 2 a week. You and I are all in on 2 a week. The good news is they give us lots of content to talk about. By the way, before we go quickly, the Oilers lost again. Are you buying into this, or are you just like, no, they started like 2-11 last year or whatever it was. They'll get it. McDavid and Draisaitl are too good. They'll get it turned around.
Yeah, I think if they were in the Atlantic Division, I'd be more worried, but I just don't think that division's good enough. I really don't.
You see the LA Kings the other night, and it's like, they're a young team that is like on the rise a bit, and they still got a ways to go, but they're not, the LA Kings are not.
There's a reason why, like, that's been their first round matchup for 2 or 3 years now. Like,
yeah,
be interesting to see. I know I've made the comparison in years past. If like the Leafs played the Buffalo Sabres in the first round, I don't know how much different it would have been. But but if the Leafs were matched up against the LA Kings for 2 or 3 straight years, maybe things would be different. So I think that division's just too soft. I think they'll figure it out. They're too good. That division's too soft. They'll be fine.
100%. All right, as I said earlier, new episode coming up this Wednesday. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button below. Make sure you follow us on our socials. Make sure if you're listening on the audio, like, subscribe, review, all that fun stuff.
Spread the word. Tell your friends.
We really appreciate it. We will see you guys on Wednesday.